Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. I'm not gay. I'm not racist. I'm not an indigenous supremacist. I'm not a racial supremacist. I just call it how I see it. I tell the truth. This video is about the failed leadership of the West and what to do about it. Point number one, it is important to identify the problem with no ulterior motives and without caring about being politically correct. You think about how people commonly talk with their friends, they tend to just give it straight. Point number two, populars and nerds have led America the whole time, and they have done a horrible job while being selfish and relying on strawman arguments. What I mean by that is they're the government, the politicians, the businessmen, they're a bunch of quote-unquote populars and nerds and psychopaths, and they've done a horrible job compared to what could have happened. Think about the last 50 years. If we had a logical economy and cost-effective social programs, this country would be way better. Okay, we could have a fraction of the crime rate. Is it enough to compare it to underdeveloped nations or other corrupt developed nations and say, hey, we're doing great? That's stupid. Point number three, even the least intelligent of the most heartfelt of the indigenous people who are not in white culture, which means, which means even the least intelligent of the most heartfelt indigenous people, because by default they're not in white culture. Even they could have done a better job, and that includes for white, Jewish, and LGBT people. So when we look at who has been leading this country, when we compare them to heartfelt people, heartfelt indigenous people, American born and otherwise, okay, who we know, we've seen, we've come across, we know they care more about doing the right thing, and they know what it's like to be done wrong, and they appreciate why not to do people wrong more than the types of people who are leading the country. But it's more than just those individual politicians, it's everyone like them. Again, everyone like them. A nerd is defined as foolish and contemptible and boringly studious. Now some nerds are friendly and they care more than others. But when we look at the spectrums, okay, we have to ask ourselves, why are the spectrums what they are and what does it mean? Point number four, we live in a world with a Eurocentric neo-colonial paradigm, right? White, Jew, and LGBT supremacists and token minorities screw up the world to the best of their ability for very selfish and petty reasons, and they're so stupid because their lives would be so much better if they didn't do things the way they're doing it. They just, for the life of them, can't see. When you consider who's competing for what, and so on and so forth. For example, if you could make the world so that it's only full of people that look like you, exactly like you, would you do so? Most of you probably said no, right? You probably thought, no way, right? That's stupid as hell. But these people don't even seem to understand that. I came across a number that was 750 million or so. 750 million LGBT people in the world. So why do they feel the need to spread a gay agenda? Why do they think a world full of LGBT people is better than the natural orientations of people? I came across a psychotic video the other day where the person claimed that everybody before Christianity, that every religion at least, was magically what it was not, obviously not, and obviously not. What it was obviously not, that is, which is gay. I mean, the person's a lunatic making the claim that they were all gay. That is insane. And that's the kind of thing that we see commonly on the internet, these crazy claims, and they're backed by lots of people, and then the right wing point to those people, like the people who came up with gender neutral bathrooms and trainings and sports, and they use that to bring down the whole left, but more importantly, the part of the spectrum on the left that makes more sense than any other part of any spectrum. The spectrum on either side, the middle, what have you. And that's unbelievably heartbreaking, treacherous, and disastrous. People must understand that a moral direction is greater than a manifest destiny-based direction. It's sad that in 2026 people still push manifest destiny. expansionism, trying to expand Western culture and just trample everything in its way. Okay, they push continentalism, right, taking over all the continents. They push the right of discovery, this kind of Eurocentric, church-based way of thinking, where they trample every culture they can and say, look at the church. And they say, well, yeah, some of the church is not so good, but there's this part of the church and da-da. It's stupid. It is stupid as hell. It's a complete disgrace. And I'm not proud to be part white as a result. They need to grow up immediately. I'm sure there are countless white people, countless people who are Jews and so on, who are not proud to be those things because of what the governing class is doing and because of their complicity with those things. I'm not complicit with them, but basically everyone else is, apparently. And certainly they're not doing what is precisely right, which is obeying God through me. That's a story for another day. Point number 6. If America is trying to leave a Eurocentric direction for an actually moral direction, what should be done? Point number 7. I recommend a 4th branch of government with my 7-point war on poverty plan. I'll put it in the description if I remember. And the power to overrule any social or economic plan that isn't fair enough for the poor. Now, my idea for this branch of government is that I would handpick a Hispanic female, okay, preferably Mexican because of the numbers of Mexicans in this country. And ideally, I'd be married before I did so. I'd be in a committed relationship. But that can't happen fast enough, so that people know it's on the up and up, what have you. Even though I wouldn't dream of, corrupting the process with some kind of, Western way of thinking like porn or, sexual extortion and coercion like we see so commonly in Western culture. It's bad enough that it's there, but the refusal to repent is unforgivable. So we'd pick this person, and they would have a 1-year term, and every year we'd vote on someone else, and it'd be popular vote, not electoral votes, which means the votes of the states, right, and the way it's structured versus the actual collective vote of the people. We'd have a popular vote, the collective vote of the people. And every year, that person would be voted in. And this would be on top of the 7-point plan. So if they look at the 7-point plan playing out and they say, hey, that's not enough. And Trump giving, these kids money for the future and these retirement plans, money for the future, not addressing the problems right now, is not enough. So they have the power to amend the big, beautiful bill, the power to insist on another bill on top of the 7-point plan. And the rich would still be rich. The rich would still be rich. The rich would still be rich. There'd still be a bunch of white, Jewish, and LGBT oppressors and token minority oppressors if it makes you feel better. But this would be a huge step in the right direction. See the next part. Thank you.